I would find another period of intense creative energy in 2007. While working my first job at Albertsons, I came back into contact with an old acquaintance from high school. One way or another, the conversation turned to his family having a shoe store in upstate New York, and that he would be moving back up there to help them out at the store. He said they had an apartment there as well, with a couple of rooms, and somehow it was agreed that I would move to New York to work at that store. It was the strangest thing to suddenly be moving away from the place I've lived for most of my life. But not long after that phone call, I was packing up and getting on the plane, leaving behind the only life I really knew for something exciting and unexpected. New York was such a different place than Vegas. I was living in the Arts District in Saratoga Springs, right on First Street. It was unreal. I would walk up and down the street just window shopping even though I didn't really have much money. There was this wonderful bookstore, a cool little music shop with a ton of mixed up CDs, a really good bagel place called Uncommon Grounds, a library that I sadly only visited once, and if I took a bus, I could visit the mall, which featured the only movie theater that was anywhere close to where I lived. I loved so much about the whole experience, and even though I only got to stay for 3 months, it was absolutely exhilarating. Upstate New York was a time of a lot of firsts for me. First time on my own away from parents, first time I ever had alcohol, first time I ever did grocery shopping for myself. It was also the first time I ever got to use spray paint. One of the coolest things I've ever had the opportunity to do was spray paint the walls of our apartment. We had a ladder and a ton of spray paint canisters that my friend bought, and we went wild. We spray painted every single wall, and I have to say I was really bad at it. It was a lot of fun though, and the pictures really speak for themselves. It's a wild period of my life that I know I'll never do again, but while I had the opportunity, I was very happy to give it a try. I don't regret this time at all, though it was sadly short-lived. But at the same time, I just wasn't prepared for New York. I wasn't ready for how cold it could actually get. I had no boots, and by the time December rolled around, the snow was so deep, I was freezing my spaghetti legs off anytime I had to leave the house. It was bad. Thankfully, I came home for Christmas 2007, and was graciously let go while still in Vegas, so I just stayed. I started working again in January, and New York was forever behind me. 2008 was another prolific time for me creatively. I somehow found my way into a set of Prismacolor alcohol markers, and these things seemed to unlock a well of creativity that I didn't even realize was there. These colors were the most vibrant and powerful I'd ever had access to, and I relished the opportunity to create many new pieces. These have resurfaced for me in the form of bleed pieces, as I call them, where the ink was so overwhelming to the page that it seeped through to the next page, permanently staining it. It left me with a negative of the drawing, which I found looked interesting enough to keep around. These have been a huge boon and allowed me the opportunity to rethink the old pieces and create something familiar but then entirely original. Between 2009 and 2011, it was a mixed bag of on and off creativity. I wrote a rock opera where I mixed story passages with song/poetry and created a piece for each chapter in the story, 13 altogether. I also attempted to do painting again with mixed results. Some good and some bad, but only a few that I really wanted to hold on to. Everything else either got tossed or gifted. Beyond 2011, board games have taken a more central role in my life and continue to fascinate me to this day. I created a few different board game designs, but largely fell away from doing too much in the way of original art. Instead, I ran a meditation club for a year, then a writing club for a year. I wrote many short stories, and even got one published in a community college writers' compilation. Overall, things were very quiet for me artistically.